for the Tommy Amos runner, It's Our Time. And as I say, I talked to Tommy in the winner's circle afterwards, and obviously he was effusive, but I had heard he had picked the horse out of the sale, Keeneland last year. And I said, what stood out to you? And he said, well, it's by Not This Time, who is going to go down as one of the all-time greats. And so that stood out immediately to me. So that was interesting as well.
I mean, they usually know the horse. The one thing I always say about getting a tip from a trainer is you don't know the other horses.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you know, like, this is, I've had enough trainers. I'm not talking the 4 phone calls. I've had enough trainers tell me they're like, this animal can do things. I don't know if it's going to be today. I don't know what the others are, but this is a racehorse.
He said he had seen the Heroes Declared the favorite work, and he said we knew we were probably going to have our work cut out for us. But
apparently they didn't have their work cut out for them. The one aberration that I have is on dirt at Saratoga, 6.5 furlongs for the teletimer and the buyers. I'm always leery of. I don't think they have, for whatever reason. But the performance, the eyeball test, that horse was so professional on debut that was, and ever since we had Tom Amos on, he told the story about the pylon. He's like, we love him. I mean, he's good on what he does there, but he was really good on set where there's a little, there's less people yelling in your ear and there's more free flow. He was dynamic in that spot that I was lucky enough to sit in with him a couple of years ago. I mean, and so that was tremendous. And I've always said, if you ever see the movie Saratoga, it's about 2-year-old racing. It's not about the Travers, it's 2-year-olds. And I think for a while in my lifetime, the Hopeful might have been the biggest purse up here.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And purse is an indicator of...
In the day, futurities everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. I've told this story before. I'll tell it quickly. I think it was the 1969 Arlington, Washington futurity. Because the Seth was saying, you used to have to nominate when the foal was in the mom's womb.
Continuing to put money into the pool.
I think the 69 Arlington, Washington futurity was the biggest gross stakes race for like 10 years. I think Affirm's Hollywood Gold Cup finally surpassed it. So that'll give you a little insight. So, 2-year-old racing in Saratoga is a thing, is the thing, besides the Alabama, Travers, and Whitney. So now the Alabama. Let me just get the first thing out of the way. If you thought nitrogen was going to sit in behind horses and take dirt for the first time, you are not paying attention. That, I think the 5-path around the racetrack up on the front allowed her to not take dirt, which she's never done. And that was good. And I'm going to be interested, Seth, to see what the buyer is, because in my heart of hearts, I'm thinking 88.
Yeah, the final quarter was a little slow.
How about the first half? I'm
and
sitting there with Margie's intention. I have no chance.
On that, I'm thinking
25 for the opener.
I thought LaCar had it in her back pocket at that point.
Big. I do not think it works that way. I think you're supposed to always bottom out the field. I think that patient keeping everybody in the race does not work.
I would say that if they were sitting right next to it, but she had some open space behind her. In that case, I kind of feel like
you let everybody walk. It becomes a kicker's race. I'm not me. I love that year. Matter of fact, it was with Christophe Clement. I think it was in the fall of '98. Had Corey Nakatani. He guaranteed a mount. So Corey came to New York in that autumn. And he was so aggressive. I've always said this. I want you to blow races open on the turn. I am never going to yell at you if you get caught inside the 16th pole. But I thought as she sat there, and do you have the chart? I say 25. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was like 24.94. Now, when we run the 9 furlong races like the Whitney, they start on the turn, so it's hard to gather speed. But the 1.25 mile races, you start at the 8th pole. So it shouldn't be that slow. I saw that. I saw Margie's intention. I'm like, I have no chance here today. And then I saw 49 and change, And then, so that's on my pick being up against it. But then she couldn't close into a 26 and change. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I think Good Cheer gave us another 88, and she ran second. I think Nitrogen might get like a 92, but I'm
24.94, 49.7, 113.24.
Right. So it was a turf race, and the turf force won.
Yeah.
There you go.
And after the race, Mark said, I don't know whether we'll see her back on the turf again. And
I think that'll be a mistake.
Well, I mean, it depends because
I think the 3-year-old fillies are going to get their head handed to them in the Breeders' Cup on dirt. This is not a good group, in my opinion. Yeah. It's a solid group, and they have multiple grade ones next to them, but somebody has to win restricted 3-year-old filly races. But I'm Dina, while you're sitting over there, see if on Twitter you can come up with the he's sitting there in charge. I don't want you to think he's in charge. See if the buyer speed figure for the Alabama is out. See if the buyer speed figure. It's not that big a deal. I am of the belief that was a turf race, style, flow. The turf force won it, kept out wide, never took dirt. Anemic fractions opening. And the sad thing is, it seems like the only quarter mile that they did any thoroughbred running was the third one, where they went 24 and change to trip the teletimer. So Marty's attention. So think about this, folks. The last 3 Alabama winners have come off of victories in an off-the-turf Belmont Oaks, the Delaware Oaks, and the Wilton listed stakes. Not the norm for the Alabama. But, and I have to say that she's the leader of the 3-year-old filly division, which is rare for the Kentucky Oaks to be, but I think many people, I'm in that boat, that thought that Good Cheer had a lot of holes, irrespective of her record, maybe have been shown to not be off base.
And I was on her yesterday.
I think she ran an 88.
And ran second, but my feeling is, and I get it because her numbers weren't popping off the page, but as you kind of alluded to, their numbers were okay with the crop this year. So
absolutely,
the holes kind of got, were filled in a little bit in that her competition. She was right there and had the undefeated streak coming into the Acorn, and so I she's talented relative to this group, certainly. But
I mean, I'll go out on a limb and I'll say there's like no way Nitrogen got a 97. I mean, I'm not a buyer guy, but I was not. I used to talk about remember that horse to honor and serve. The thing I always thought was bad against him in American dirt racing, slow fast is not a style that's usually productive, and they were slow yesterday. That's not good. What was it? 203 and change. I mean, it was not good. So we had a scintillating performance. We had a professional performance, and we probably saw the 3-year-old leader. But I think I love Mark Cassey, but I would find the QE2 invitation to my liking.
And it's going to be interesting to see because, again, as you say, I think end of the year they may be up against it a little bit as compared to the 3-year-old boys, where Sovereignty, I think, is in a good spot. Other than the 4-year-olds this year are very good, but I think it makes for an interesting.
I agree. I think that's what
clash.
Absolutely. I think I hate the fact that it's come down to once a year, basically. But Nisos and the rest. Totally Here we go. Let's dial it up.
Bobrovsky for the aforementioned Dale in the Skidmore looked good.
Hockey Players Unite.
Junior. Yeah. And Dale, talked about naming the horse a little bit in the winner's circle as well. But again, I'll toss in the winner's circle tapes. If we don't get to it today, and we have a full show at 10 o'clock. But if we don't get to it, we'll show them earlier in the week as well. But yeah, it was a nice day yesterday. Attendance listed as 38,523, and it was a nice crowd. It was a big crowd yesterday. And again, what became a warm day as compared to a cool morning over here. But today we are sunny from the get-go. So it looks like it'll be a fun Sunday afternoon. You got anything else before I hit some of the?
No, I think you'll probably have discussions when the buyers get found out by our director. But it's a day that I'm intrigued that down the road, and I've been down many roads. It's like if we walk away, and it's Alabama Day or it's our time day. That's how. It doesn't happen too often. I'll give you a quick Chuck McGahee story. So this is years ago. Seeking the Gold's debut was at Hialeah. It was by all the sheet players, and there weren't many sheet guys in 1987. It was the performance of the year by a 2-year-old. And I think Shug had won the Widener he had won the stakes race. When all the media came down, all they wanted to talk about was Seeking the Gold on debut. So yesterday, it's just unique. I mean, Alabama is obviously a race of tremendous.
And we've seen it over the years, not just up here at Saratoga, but at Saratoga, it stands out. Big Saturdays tend to have very, very potent maiden specials on the undercard.
But we talked about that's kind of something in our lifetime that happened. They started running these baby races, and with partnerships that own horses versus the old days, you want to be seen. Now, what's funny was I didn't know that how quickly that Tis the Law 6.5 furlong debut, which is a rarity, would be superseded. Only took a couple years to somebody run a 6.5 furlong debut. The reason I mark it is they just don't run that many.
Yeah.
It's 6, and then at the end of the meet, 7. So you got some business before we get to Steve Bick's play of the day?
Today, it is a knockout challenge at the Clubhouse Racebook. So, again, a little extra fun. The Racebook and Capital OTB in general, lots of fun promotions and events during the Saratoga season. You can catch up with them at the website. Excuse me, click on the promotions link. Also, today, the Syndicate will put together their Pick 5 ticket. Again, the team has already been picked, but we want to, root for the team. Good luck going ahead, Syndicate team. Score and score big. That's what we are rooting for, certainly. Top of the hour, we will be joined by our friend Frank Vespi from the RacingBiz.com. Talked to Frank quite a bit when we're down in the studio, focusing on Maryland racing usually, because the RacingBiz.com concentrates on racing in the Mid-Atlantic region. But Frank's in town, and I told him if you come to town, alert me, and he did. So he'll be in today. And obviously, we'll talk a little yesterday. Maybe we'll get a little handicapping from Frank. But if you went to the Racing Biz, he covered the Arlington Million last week, and we really didn't hit on that too much. So we'll just talk a little bit about Fort Washington last week as well. Sarah Elbadwe from NYRA will also join us. Again, we'll get some of her thoughts on the Alabama yesterday, do a little handicapping with Sarah. And then Jason Worth will join us. I mentioned that earlier. He's headed tomorrow, I think he told me, to France for the Prix Mornay. Wesley Ward taking outfielder over to France, a race he has won 3 times over in France already. So, Jason.
But not only France. You know where they're running, right?
Is it?
You got to say it the right way.
Well, I was
ultimate French kiss of
Deauville.
Deauville. It's like it's that place that I don't believe exists that I get there. It's supposed to be so wonderful. The racing in the summer in France is at Deauville on the water. It's just supposed to be one of the great.
See, I would say Deauville, but don't they say Deauville?
Yeah. Well, they would, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we'll talk about
That's
that.
awesome.
One.
He's going for the race.
He's got a runner today in the Bolton Landing. He had the runner yesterday that unfortunately matched up with It's Our Time, went off favorite. Heroes declared, but also this new partnership, Icon, is fairly brand new. So we'll talk about his partnership as well with World Series winner Jason Worth a little bit later on. That's all coming up on Loose on the Lead. And I have a couple other things I want to hit on.
Yes.
The first I will. The picture went out on Twitter yesterday. I was talking to the guys. I knew it was coming. I think it's going to be kind of a soft opening today, but low rollers. It's back. So you go over to where you normally sign up, and you can jump in. As I say, I think with the tote system changing last year, there were some changes that they had to make. So I think it's kind of a soft rollout today, but low rollers is back. And somebody tweeted to me yesterday.
1,100 people show up, they're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, I think. But yesterday somebody tweeted to me that your stats on the 1 mile shoot were getting put to shame by there was a horse came out of the 9 hole yesterday. I just want to say they weren't your stats. They were
stats. They're not mine.
And you weren't even making any specific point. I had brought up at the start of the meet. David Aragona had put it out, and it was really 1 through 6 and maybe 7. If you were outside of that, it was trouble. Right. And since then, a couple outside.
Well, they won two. They won 2 out of 3.
Tossing out the numbers that you had.
I mean, it's the same joke almost, and I mean that in a nice way. Like, the old classic races at the old Belmont Park would run on the 1.25 mile in the middle of the turn. And you're like, well, if you look at the stats, the outside horses won all of them. That would run at Belmont, but if you want to bet that way every day.
I'm the one who brought it up, but because I think there is an advantage that is worth paying attention to.
I think if you see the head on, it's hard to say, geez. And that's why I also remember I was saying to you, that's also where, if post position 1 has 15 consecutive horses that are 23-1, that's the context that you have to have. If the 9 horse, if the 9 horse is 7-5, that means they overcame it. And that's what we're going to look into, that, who they were, etc. Remember the horses?
Now with a couple of horses winning from the 8 the other day, the 9, you don't have to necessarily, cross out some horses.
I'll give you an example of
the
Belmont Stakes when they ran the Classic. The 3 horses on the outside that overcame it and won: Unbridled, Cigar, and St. Liam. So 2 horses of the year. So you can do anything. Yeah. Dino, are you like?
Let's go to the play. And
you have nothing. All right. The DePaula play today was Steve Bick, who is everywhere, but nowhere. He won't be here, but he was in Toronto yesterday.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Hey, everybody. Steve Bick back with you to wind down the week on the DePaula play of the day, and coming to you from Toronto after a really fabulous King's Plate day. And Kevin Attard with an amazing sequence, winning 3 straight stakes, starting with the plate and the King Eddie, and then for Al Gold and his Gold Circle with a really nice 2-year-old, 2-out hero is his name. And they're going to come right back up here and try to win the Breeders' Cup Win in Your In race. Meanwhile, let's go to the 10th race at the Spa on Sunday. And John Kimmel has got a Vino Rosso named No Merlot. Kendrick Carmouche picks up the mount. This horse showed some speed last time, going 1 mile and 1/8. Now is going to turn back to 7/8. 12-1. No Merlot is going to pick up some pieces, maybe attend the pace a little bit, and finish well. And he's the DePaula play of the day at a really nice price. No Merlot, the 5 in the nightcap to end the week at the Spa. See you on Wednesday. Let's get lucky.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The opener, the rarely run 9 furlongs on the inner.
4, 3, 6, and 7 for me. Abundant Love on top. Mike Trombetta trainee. Had Mike in yesterday. Fun interview. Or was it a couple days? No, it was yesterday. Man, they all run together after a while. But this one coming out of a nice improved effort last time in the 3rd start back off an early season layoff. And I think that may have this horse primed for another move forward. again today. Do people hear that?
I have to
Should I
interrupt.
comment?
Do you ever see the trolley inside? I've never seen the trolley inside.
Yeah, because they go over. That's the breeding farm tour.
Oh, okay.
So they go over, but I think he's a novice. He was supposed to turn when he came in, as opposed to backing up. So if you hear the backing up sign, yeah, the trolley's backing up. But again, I think Mike Trombetta, Live Oak Plantation, the runner is primed off the last few starts, moving in the right direction. Dimensionality in the second spot, also running well, was just behind the top pick last time and could be also primed for a good effort. And Pemaquid in the third spot, Chevy Gahey training that only has 2 starts, and they were well spaced. April to July, so off a few months. So the horse is lightly raced. I think there might be a little blue sky still for this one. And maybe we'll get to it now that we're putting a couple of races together, third start. But this horse does have that style that is, something to overcome, comes from way out of it. So we'll see what happens. But 4, 3, 6, and
this
7.
won't make sense to anybody that hasn't been in Southern California. When all of a sudden we've become the 405 freeway. There is action here, folks. Our girls here down Clare Court. Oh my goodness! Please all work out.
I think the trolley kind of backed things up.
Pemaquid, I think, has scratched more often than has run. I find it heartening that Seth has left the 7-5 morning line favorite out of his trifecta. I think that's great. It's a seasonal. Now we're up to August 17th having seasonal debuts, and I don't care. But I am 3-7-2, dimensionality on top. I will say this, and I've said this before. David Aragona did David showed yesterday to the audience on Talking Horses why he set such a good morning line odds. But I think this race is, on balance, more even than having a 7-5 shot in here. Now, stakes races up at Woodbine makes a seasonal debut, the offspring of Twirling Candy. But I want dimensionality, I think, fits right there based on buyers, which I don't use. I'm in it. 9-2, 7-5. I want 9-2. Ready for Candy making the seasonal debut in the new barn, and then 3-7-2 in the opener, which I do not think is a slam dunk for Ready for Candy.
David Grenig tweeting out just within the last 10 minutes the debut effort from It's Our Time, 94, which for a 2-year-old this time of year.
You know what? That's kind of good because it indicates not how good he was. My rule now is I like a 75. But that horse might be able to improve on it within a year. That was something special. But her nitrogens hasn't been put up.
I haven't seen. I'm checking the usual.
I think they're using a sundial to figure it out because it might be an 84.
But I would also say,
it wasn't.
We're in that time period where I'll keep checking because this is when a lot
they
of
get
them
released.
Seem to come out about this time the day after, if they aren't out already. Race number 2 this afternoon. Starter allowance types going 6 furlongs.
4-6-3 Moon Cachet for me from Michael Gorham comes out of a 7 furlong dirt stakes race down at Colonial. Jose Ortiz picks up the mount. We have good speed in here, good positioning for second. On the outside, Linda Rice first off to claim 50,000 for Candina, and then looks first. A quick thing here. I think this is a terrific race. We're adding blinkers. I'm scared. This is one of the cases, Seth, where my third place pick, sometimes I think the third place is the ceiling for my selection. The other time, and I don't say it as often as I should, could better this rating, which was something I picked up in my youth. And I want a quick thing about the number of horses who have won and the voided claims, I think is a thing.
Grenig, I think, tweeted the number out so far.
50,
yes. And I am
12 out of 24.
I am 110% with you there. And I continue to say, I think the claimer should have the option of saying, I still want the horse. Because it's just,
seems like capitalism.
Everybody makes the point, and it's a great point. How did the horse get out there, get into the gate, and win the race, and then get back? And it's like, nope, they're not gonna.
Little investigation.
I'm not saying nefarious, but I'm saying there's something wrong with the process. It seems like it's just,
I think to the newbie, it's hard to imagine a racehorse can win the race
and then go back and not pass the vet to move on with it. And like I say,
It hasn't happened twice.
To me, it seems like just let the person who claimed make the decision, and then, as far as I'm concerned, that solves the problem. But that's not the way it works out currently. All right, starter allowance types going 6 in race 2.
It's your time to make your selections. I spoke after my selections of 4, 6, 3.
Second race, I tee up the even races.
You did, and I spoke to
Oh,
him.
you
I
so
spoke
you
to him.
so
And then after I was done speaking to him was when I interjected the voided claims.
okay.
So now it's your turn to handicap your 5, 4,
I was
6.
I was over here.
There's a lot going on.
I was
here.
still looking
I got
for
a
the
director. I got things.
I was still looking for the
I got
nitrogen
the 405
buyer.
freeway. We're trying to get nitrogen's buyer, but 94 is pretty sweet for it.
Yeah, no, 2-year-old. So 5, 4, 6, and 1 for me. Daisy Duke on top. 2 nice improving efforts in the last couple of starts for the Ron Maquette runner. So I think this one again could be primed for a move forward today. Moon Cash in the second spot off of a series of stakes races. Logical. I ride on board Daisy Duke. Jose on board Moon Cash. So I think these 2 are interesting players, and they have the 2 top jocks at the meet on board. Cadena in the third spot. Linda Rice Trainee off a claim was claimed away from Chad Brown. We'll see what Linda can do first off the claim, but she's doing very well at the meet. So that one in my mix as well. I have it 5, 4, 6, and 1.
A quick check that I haven't been able to cross-reference. I think 102 or 104 for Uncle Mo on debut. On to the third race, dashing 5.5 on the turf.
3, 2, 6, and 5. I'm kind of master of the obvious here with the 2-1 favorite. Carry you, Cherie DeVoe runner that comes in with a couple of numbers.
You said 2-1 favorite. You might want to revise
2 to 5, 2 to 5.
Which
favorite.
is
yeah. I said master of the obvious.
Was Secretary ever
Yeah.
2 to 5 on the morning line? I mean,
I would seriously doubt it.
it's just a
You
different
would-
world.
Yeah, I don't know whether you'd see 2 to 5 on the morning line at all. With if you go,
Even
past-
Dr. Fagan,
past
his
like a
last
year
start
ago.
at 4.
it really kind of and David Aragona nails it. But I think this horse comes in with solid numbers as compared to this bunch that kind of warrant that short price. We've talked about it before. The buyers seem to really play into handicapping these days and the betting and whatnot. And occasionally you get one like this that clearly has an edge on the numbers. So I'll go there. Cars Time in the second spot comes off a couple of state bred stakes races that, finishing position, not much. But when you compare the numbers to the rest of the group, I think compares all right. You get a little bit of a price there as well. And then Sol Hope going out for Flying P. Mike Maker trainee off the claim back at the Belmont meet here at Saratoga. So you maybe question the little bit of a layoff, but comes back at a higher price. So I think the horse could be interesting from these connections. 3, 2, 6, and 5.
Listen, the race goes through the 3. I just was like, after 2 powerful non-winning performances, maybe Cherie DeVoe will get a third in a row, a big-time performance. And the other side is, if this horse regresses today after the 2 non-winning performances and runs like an 84, and Sol Hope runs the race of the life at $16, but the race goes through the 3 for horizontals.
I'm saying you regress to an 80. April's still probably going to win the race.
Right. I agree with that. Sol Hope has to run a career best today. And, maybe then it still doesn't work out. But, at 2 to 5, here's a question. And I've never done the math, but to me, there's 4 to 5, 3 to 5 is kind of the same neighborhood. 2 to 5 to 1 to 5 is not the same neighborhood. And then 1 to 5 versus 1 to 10 is a chasm. But I'm like, is she going to be 1 to 5? I'm like, and that's just unacceptable to me. 6, 3, 2 in what is not a wide open third.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more from this Sunday card at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Staples' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, again on a beautiful Sunday morning up here at Saratoga. As you alluded to, we're in the home stretch now, headed to Travers Week, and then we get to the final week, wrapping it up.
11 days of racing after today.
Yeah.
So there's a dozen
11 days
as of
after
right now.
Today because Labor Day.
Yeah. 5 and 6.
Yep. Fourth race this afternoon, optional claimer, non-winners are one other than a mile and 3/16.
And I have to apologize, not that I said it on the air, but it was my internal hope to give our audience the data on the number of scheduled 9.5 furlong dirt races over the last 40 years. The reason I bring that up is because the race before Conquistador Cielo ran third at odds on in the Travers and never ran again. Winter's Tale marched out here in race 7, the year we ran 27 straight days, and broke Rivolero's track record. And 43 years later, it still stands. They don't print in the form anymore the track records, right?
I think
That's
you're
gone.
Right. Yeah,
that's gone. Right. So people, that's Winter's Tale, 154.6. But I got a lot on my plate with the mile things, but I'm going to try and get you a number of races scheduled, 641. Because remember also, the mile and 3/16 turf races used to be popular because it's the gap to a mile and 3/8, so they were popular. So when they got rained off, they ran at a mile and 3/16 on the dirt. But I want to find out schedule ones. Try to hit on the top pick for Ron Moquette is my top selection. Has had 2 starts since February. That February was a victory at Oak Lawn Park and ran at this level, beaten favorite in the last at Churchill 2 times. Now comes to Saratoga again. New Magic. 1 on debut, going 2 turns at Monmouth, takes on Winners, is 3-1 on the morning line. And then, Todd Pletcher from the inside with, was it Valentinia? Sends out for Eclipse 7-5 coming out of 2 races back. The old Pegasus that used to be the autumn race, 6-4-1.
Autumn race to the Meadowlands, right?
Yes, at night, yeah. I think O'Gaijin got upset. What was unique about O'Gaijin was that day, I'd never heard this before, Marshall Cassidy during the Belmont feed announced that O'Gaijin was being vanned over to, he was leaving the grounds because that was a Friday night race. And I forget the race that was Saturday in New York, but he was probably cross-entered. And Marshall announced that O'Gaijin was being vanned over.
I have a 1, 2, 6, and 4. 3's a little bit interesting to me as well. The 3 and the 4 are a couple of Chad Brown horses that bottom my mix, but you look up, you get some odds, maybe take a second look at the Chad Brown runner. But I put Valentinian on top. The Todd Pletcher runner comes in off a near miss last time down at Monmouth. I think is very dangerous. Versante, though, I think these 2 are pretty similar. And one you're getting 7-5 and one you're getting 9-2. I kind of have a feeling they will close up the gap by post time because, again, I think Versante, it's a Linda Rice runner. And on the numbers, I think these 2 are very much in the same ballpark and makes sense. Trident hit in the 3rd spot. off, again, some numbers that I think stack up with the top two. Hasn't been seen since early in June, however, but comes back same level, was seen at this level down at Churchill in those last two. Now comes up for Ron McKett, and I think is a player as well. But I have it 1, 2, 6, and 4.
On to the fifth, the starter allowance. I think now that we have at least three different levels, let's say starter allowance 50s going 6.5.
This is my dark horse play today, and I will say I need one. I have had two this week, one yesterday, and I think it was the day before, but it might have been the day before that. But I have two that were just didn't do a thing. And I'm not shocked when they don't win necessarily, because you're looking for something maybe a little out of the box. But I had two this week that just did not lift their hoof. And so that was a little bit disappointing. And, I don't have huge odds here, but I looked over the whole card, and it was one of those days where there was nothing jumping out to me in particular. So I'll go with 3Bs, the number 5 here in the fifth race. As my dark horse play today, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway, right in downtown Saratoga. But 3B's, a Linda Rice trainee, claimed last time, claimed away from Orlando Noda off a win here, really just 9 days ago. I like the turnaround that Linda got the horse in the barn and said, we got something here. Let's jump right back in. And it's not they're jumping back in and being clever claiming wise. She's jumping into a starter allowance here. So I think this horse, as I say, got back to the barn and was still in good form, and saw this in the book, and they're taking their shot. Jose Ortiz jumps on board. Linda having a very good meet and very good off the claim. I think 3Bs is very interesting in here. So our dark horse play of the day today, race number 5, horse number 5, 3Bs. Second spot, Plausible Denial. Comes in, you go 3 back, a nice win, then a second place finish. Then last time ran 4th. And that number to me looks maybe like a little bit of an aberration, although this horse is maybe a little bit inconsistent. But if you go down the page and you find numbers like that going down a little bit, it seems like the next start we move back to what are maybe a little more consistently what this horse throws, which is going to match up very nicely with this group. And then the other half of that one entry is Zippy Mark, who probably is the one I prefer of some more consistent, solid numbers for Ken McPeak. And then Typhoon Fury in the third spot off a second place finish last time that I think makes sense in with this group. 5, the one entry, 4 and 2.
Boy, I have to give you credit for getting your play of the day out of this race. I probably spent too much time on this race on balance. I could barely make heads or when I say heads or tails, I'm talking differentiation of it. It's like I could read the racing form. I'm 7, 1A, and 6, and Shoot the Nickel. Hasn't been on a fast racetrack since being runner-up at the fairgrounds about 4 races back. I'm on the outside here, but I just, I was clearly not going to land on, a short price horse because I think there's 8 runners. I think 5 are live in this race minimum, and I could drag in a 6th one. Part of the entry scheduled to break from the number 4 post position is 1A. Zippy Mark making the second start since May for Ken McPeak. The allowance effort at the Spa in July, very nice. And then Go Irish, which is very difficult for a University of Southern California person to say, but I like that race back on May 25th at Monmouth. 7, 1A, and 6.
Race number 6 this afternoon. We're looking at Maiden Special 2-year-olds going 8.5 on the grass.
1, 4, 6 for me, and the two marks in the pedigree angle were both the 1 and the 4, which are on top, and one of them is 10-1, and the other one is 2-1. If you've watched this show for a while, you could kind of guess which way I'm going, which is Bill Mott's firster for Stone Farm Expressway, offspring of Hard Spun. We draw the inside with the rails at 27 feet, and we can expect, as per usual, the rails will come down on Wednesday. But, just taking a flyer here, it's a lot of guessing for me. I'm not going to guess at 2-1 on top. But for second, number 4, Teleport. Lupa de Vega has been a sensational winning stallion on turf races at Saratoga the last, I want to say, 5 years. You have Galileo on the bottom side for third. Honey's to Blame makes the second career start. If the first one was practice, here we go. 1, 4, 6.
4, 7, 3, and 6 for me. I will put Teleport on top. There was a sibling called, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Jueller. Over in France, ran 4th in debut and then won the 2nd start. So that's a win early. Workouts, steady spring. They don't jump off the page. Nothing in here jumped off the page at me, but Teleport, I think, for Rapoli and company, Todd Pletcher with a little bit of win early breeding. Interesting. I almost made Woodster my dark horse play of the day at 8-1. This one has a sibling called Lord Miles that won the career debut. And, nice workout on July 28th. Bill Mott can get them ready. And I had the stat the other day you see on here, debuting over a mile. It's a little light, but I parsed out things a few days ago, and that may be a little bit deceiving. So Woodster, I think, is very intriguing, a guitarist in the 3rd spot. The lone sibling to make a U.S. start is 0 for 7 for the Chad Brown runner, but it is Chad Brown with the debut runner. Couldn't leave it out of the mix. 4, 7, 3, and 6.
A quick break. We'll be right back.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 7, 6.5 on the dirt. Starter allowance 12.5.
Another one I almost made my play today. Problematic. I have a 3, 1, 7, and 6.
I would have been with you.
Between this one and the other one, we got a touch more on the odds. So, but kind of interesting. It was an interesting mixed bag parsing out stats on this one for Linda Rice. And again, I'm 3, 1, 7, and 6. Problematic on top. Over the last 3 years on the dirt at Saratoga, Linda 69 for 351, 20%. If you get that down to the last year, it pops up to 22%. If you go parse it a couple more times, sprinting with Jose Ortiz on board, 18%. So overall this year, she's 20%. And notable stats when you're kind of looking are when they are better than what the trainer is doing normally. And we're kind of a couple of points above and a couple of points below, depending on how far you parse. So I think we're all in the ballpark, but it just goes to show sometimes when stats are given out, well, you talk about this a lot as well. Sometimes when the stats are given out, if you don't dive in deep enough, you're kind of not getting the correct stats necessarily. And this one, as I say, just varies a few points, but it does vary a little bit as you get a little bit deeper. But it was all good enough for me to think this one comes in good form, again, with those numbers that are right in the ballpark for Linda, and up with Problematic on top. I like the cut back of the half furlong off the second last time. Irish Jackson in the second spot. Claim 2 back, Rob Falcone came back in an allowance event and ran an okay third. Now drops back into a starter allowance level that I think is maybe giving perhaps a little bit of relief in here. And then in the third spot, I'll put Jackson's Dixie Tossed in a little bit of a clunker last time, really kind of the last two. But if you go down the page just a little bit, I think the horse is probably better than we've seen in the last couple. Moves into a new barn. Maybe that gets us back to a rebound performance. 3-1, 7-6.
Boy, this race is, almost as clear a divide, Seth, between the haves and the have-nots as you'd see. There's 4, I think, serious contenders and 3 outsiders. And that's coming from a person who likes outsiders. 3-6-1 for me, problematic, actually, is one of my favorite thoughts of the day. I will be, Spiritual Lady is going to the favorite in here. I feel pretty confident there. But if I could get 7-2 on problematic right now, I'd be very happy over Spiritual Lady, who's going to be tough in here. And then I have Irish Jackson, second off the claim. Seth mentioned the 1X now into, I think we have 3 rungs of starter allowance, and this is the bottom one. So this might be a good fit, but I do think there are 4 halves, 4 have-nots. But I will say I like problematic, even though being in the mix of 4 halves, I like pretty much.
Race number 8 is the feature race, the Bolton Landing. $150,000 up for grabs for the 2-year-old fillies traveling 5.5 on the grass.
Maybe as nice as Deauville, Bolton Landing. So certainly some nice spots. 6-4-2 for me, and my top pick doesn't even make Seth's radar. But on debut, 1 turf sprinting for Jeremiah, a number figure that I think we can improve upon. I certainly would not want to take a lower price than 9-2 because, I got to go against the 4 here. Not this time. I talked about the 2-year-old fillies, and this was one of them that he has. Now the most famous one is going to be a 2-year-old colt, which we're not surprised at. A huge buyer figure on, to me, an 80 on debut on a turf sprint is big. And then My Sweetheart making the 3rd career start, exits the beaten odds on in the Schuylerville. Boy, what a world. In the old days, you have a shipper coming in off a turf sprint, was favored in the Schuylerville. 6-4-2 for me.
4-3-8-2. And I'm with, I thought about Sacred Goddess. And again, we have Jason Worth scheduled for the next hour, and his Icon Racing owns Sacred Goddess. I think that was the first win for the partnership,
Okay.
earlier in the meet with Sacred Goddess. So I agree. This one, I don't think it's out of the question to step forward. I went back and forth putting that one in the mix, but Sci-Fair just looks so
ask.
good.
It could happen, but it's a big ask.
Looks so good in the debut. So I'll put that one on top. I thought Snowface Princess was interesting, though, off the win on the move to the turf. I think she ran very well. Again, dirt debut, moved to the turf, and seemed to absolutely like it and ran well. And so I think she, like Sacred Goddess, with only 2 starts, I think she also maybe has a little upside potential. Bramble Blast, it's my man Mike Daney, and they come into town. And I thought they come into town with a maiden, could be a little bit interesting as well. So 4-3-8-2.
We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late Daily Double.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here. at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Am I asking too early? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The late Daily Double kicks off with a mile and 16th on the inner.
People don't realize what goes on during the commercials.
It's better television.
I never did hear, and I'm guessing it turned out fine because there weren't people. But that blood-curdling scream yesterday, that was one of the strangest.
That's
came out of the blue.
What was it, Janet Leigh and Psycho?
That's what it was. Kind of had that sound, but there weren't people running around.
Yeah,
so I think it was a clown kind of a scream. That's what we're hoping anyway.
Might have gotten goosed or something.
As they were flying overhead, right overhead. Was it yesterday or the day before? Ninth race for me, 2, 10, 5, and 4. And experience on top for the aforementioned Jeremiah Englehart. Really seemed to kind of, progress in the first 4 starts. The number got better, and then broke through. So could have been one of those light bulb moments with improving experience under the belt. We'll see if this horse can put a couple together. But again, with that improvement over the first 4, I don't think that's out of the question. Second spot, we will move outside to the number 10 horse. Sounds like a plan. Horacio De Paz runner comes in off a stakes try last time. That was pretty good. Led late and then wound up getting caught and running third. But I think 3 stakes races in the last 4 starts, they've had some ambition for this horse, and I think the horse has run decently back in at this level, which is a more proper level now for this one, but does have to overcome an outside post position. Real Savvy in the 3rd spot. Miguel Clement trainee coming in off a maiden breaker, like the top pick. Maybe a little bit of a light bulb moment for that one, but that was last November, so has to overcome the layoff as well. 2, 10, 5, and 4.
And I am Real Sappy on top, 5, 7, 9. Once again, making the seasonal debut on August 17th. I'd like to find out how many horses in the decade of the 90s made their first start of the season at Saratoga. Now they get Lasix today. It's breaking a couple of my minor rules here. 3 to 1 is a tough pill to swallow with these, question marks. Taking on winners for the first time. We'll see. But that end of the year finish, nice adding up. Van Vollenhoven taking a shot there with David Duggan's runner. Broke the maiden, raced well against winners the first time, but the maiden and the racing well were off the turfers. Hasn't run on the turf since the debut, which was good enough at 25 to 1. We're 20 to 1 on the morning line. And then Royal Brown comes in 2 races back. I thought a strong effort down at Aqueduct, then less so most recently. See if that was a regression off the big effort and a bounce back. 5, 7, 9.
Van Vollenhoven is the name of the husband of Princess Margaret of the Netherlands. Who knew? And there was
Not me. All I know is the Netherlands is Aruba. That's all I know.
There was one yesterday that I looked up that was a little bit interesting as well. Oh, it was Sadie Ura. It was Wyatt Earp's wife.
Very good. Yep. And is the Netherlands and Holland not the same thing? Because you don't hear Holland too much anymore.
You're right. Yeah. 10th and final today. Scheduled to go off a little after 6:15 this evening. We are looking at maiden 35 claimers going 7 furlongs.
4-5-2 for me. Senor Pancho at 15 to 1, adding blinkers. The 3rd start since March. First off the claim. For second, no Merrow. It's the play of the day, right? Is that the play of the day?
Oh, I didn't see.
It is the play of the day. Second time tag, lower price today. I'm offspring of, you guessed it, Vino Russo. And for third, Cyber Beast. They're taking blinkers off. First off the claim. I like the most recent effort. Now shortens up from 9 at the spot to 7. I think we'll outrun these odds. 4-5-2.
You are right, however. I saw the play today last night when it came through the email, so the big play is no Merlot. I have a 10, 8, 7, and 9. I put the logical Chad Brown runner on top, dropping in for the tag. It's Chad, it's Klarovich. Typically, with these connections, they get one that's not kind of living up to the program.
Gotta go.
Yeah, hope that it does get claimed. They can open up a stall for one that is better in the program. Yeah, and they typically do very well. They'll drop to the level where the horse is competitive. So I'll put Secured Lender on top.
So you're saying they're a sharp group?
I'm saying, yeah, exactly. Sports Hero in the second spot. Relatively lightly raced for Joe Sharp, but Joe Sharp having, again, a very good meet. Comes up from Ellis, turf to dirt, cuts back. There are things to like there. Volt in the third spot. Long layoff from January to June. And the comebacker was okay. Voided claim there. They drop a little further down. Is Dangerous in the 10th. 10-8, 7-9.
All right. That wraps up the Handicappers Report. I must repeat myself. It's another beautiful day. As of this moment, there are 12 racing days left. It's Travers Week. It's one of the great venues to take in a sporting day. Like I said, you don't have to stay all day. Come for a few and enjoy either the backside or the front side of the meet. It's wonderful.
And again, I think it's a soft rollout today. So
it's great to hear.
Keep your expectations there, but low rollers
Tremendous
is back. And again, they tweeted out yesterday, the little booth is in place. So we should be good to go.
All right. He stays, I go. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great Sunday. We'll see you back here Wednesday.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. Capital